What's poppin'? It's Sunday afternoon. I've been doing some thumbnails. I've been uploading some stories to the Firebase, Firestore, database, you know, just kind of like some everyday grind kind of stuff. But now I have one final leg of coding before I'm done with the beta version of the app. And that is to redesign the audio view page, because right now that looks super ugly. It's basically the preview you get of the saga before you hop into the actual story. So with that said, let's get to coding.
So here I am with another cheeky voiceover, and this is actually the last part of the whole app building section, because after this, after I've done these two issues, I will be done with the beta version of the app and we will be able to do the first actual beta version of the app. Remember the test I did before? I called that the alpha version because that was kind of like just to see if the concept worked, etc. But now I actually have a fully functioning product where you can listen to stories. I have all of the stories and the app works flawlessly. Okay, maybe not flawlessly, but it works pretty damn well. So what I started with is that I started looking at on Google, because as I've told you before, I'm a pretty horrible designer and I don't really know what looks good and what doesn't look good. So I started googling some inspiration for UI design, etc. and I found quite a few good examples which I decided on, and I found one which I decided to replicate, and I said this is the one I'm gonna base my design upon. So as this was the reference point, I started coding, and I started from scratch pretty much with how I decided designed the whole audio preview page. So the audio preview page is what you get before you press to listen the actual audio. It's kind of like a short about section. You get the categories, you get the thumbnail, you get a little bit of a description, a little bit of a blurb, if you will, as well as the length of the story, etc. And then from here you can either go back because you didn't like the brief introduction that we gave you, or you can press listen now and your magic experience will begin. But this is quite important because this is what will sell a story essentially, and I thought the one which I had before looked pretty damn ugly, and I'm pretty sure you can agree with that. So I decided to redesign it. So I started with this. It was quite simple to begin with. What was a bit difficult was to add this whole glass morphism trend. If you don't know what glass morphism is, it's this whole trend which is trendy right now, which you can kind of hear by me calling it a trend. And this is where you have something which looks like glass underneath, and then you have a bit of text or something like that on top of it, and then whatever is behind the glass kind of shines through it. And I think this added a really nice texture and a really nice context to the whole bar with what the story was called, what it was, how long it was, and then the play button, which was quite nice. I also added a play button with the color red, I think it is, which is a bit nice because this is something which I decided to use in the beginning, but since I've only used it for shade or for coloring or for gradients, I've never really had it pop like it did here, so I was really happy with that. And now when I finished this, I thought, well, I was pretty happy with it. It looked pretty good. I feel like if I were to come across this story now, I would look at it and be like, damn, yeah, this is what I want to go with. But it's quite a simple way. It's just a big scaffold on the Flutter page. Then I have a big list view, so essentially you can scroll the whole screen, which is quite nice because it makes the whole experience scrollable. And then based on that, now I also change it so they will be adaptable. And this is something that I've figured out for all you people who do Flutter. I'm sure you've already figured this out a long time ago. But something which helps a lot is to not give containers any height restrictions, because the container will automatically in Flutter take the height which is available to it. So if it needs to take a certain number of pixels, it will do that, and if it doesn't, it won't do that. So nothing will overflow, and also nothing will look weird because it's taking too much space where it shouldn't. I had this issue before where it was taking a lot of white space because I had a standard number of pixels which my containers would be, but now they are variable, so they take however much space that they need to. After this, I was very happy and I celebrated with, to be honest, I didn't really celebrate. I think I went to the gym and had 2 scoops of PVO, almost had a heart attack, and that's how I celebrated. But then I came back home and I started working on the last thing, which is to have like a loading indicator on the page. And this was quite a hassle actually, and I overthought this so much because I tried to make a loading indicator on the play button, and I tried to replace the play button with a loading indicator while the saga was loading, etc. I was looking so much on the documentation, I was reading all of the API instructions, but it did not work. Then I had a strike of genius, and I just thought, what if I just create another page that, while the saga is not buffered, it will just display the other page with a loading indicator on it, and then we will not have to make anything. We will not have to do anything stateful on this saga view page. So that's what I did. I created a new page, which basically, it's a big if statement. So when you press listen now, if the saga is loaded, it will display the saga view page where you can press play, etc. And if it's not loaded, it will just show you the loading page with the whole nice little rotating buttons that show that this is actually loading. And it just makes the experience so much nicer, and it doesn't feel like the app is bugging at all. when it's loading. So that was quite good, and after that I was quite happy, as you will see in the next clip, where you can see a happy me celebrating my accomplishments. But another big thing which I'm spending a lot of time on is designing thumbnails, because I've started to get a lot of sagas, and now I think we're up to like 100 kid stories, which I've been putting into the app successively. I've been having to design them, I've been having to write all the blurbs, etc. I've been having to upload them to the database, and it's quite time consuming. But I've gotten quite good at Canva. Canva is a fantastic tool again. I think I put it in my software that I'm using for this app, and it's, if you're not using it for software design, or if you're not using it for design, you need to, because it's so good. It's got so many good assets, etc. Canva, sponsor me. And the thumbnails which I'm putting out are actually really good, and they look like they're really high quality, most of them. And after this I have to upload everything to the database, which is also quite the hassle. It's not that fun. Like, coding is quite fun, designing is quite fun, but uploading stuff to the database is just boring work, which I have to do, unfortunately. So I did all of this, and then the app was looking good. I sat down on my couch and I just had a look at the app and thought, wow, damn, this is pretty much complete. And as you'll see in the next clip, I kind of give a little bit of an outro and just explain what's gonna happen next. So over to Past Herman.
Alright, it's Saturday evening, I've been coding for like an hour, and I finally managed to solve this one issue which has been going on for like weeks and I haven't been able to solve, so this feels really good. Let me show you what it is. Okay, so here we have this, the app in itself, and before, when you press this listen now, there will be no loading indicator. So for like 5 seconds the whole app would just be frozen because the audio was loading and you weren't able to do anything. And then I've had this big issue where I haven't been able to add a loading indicator. But now, tonight, I finally managed to do it. So have a look at this. When you press listen now, there's first this nice loading page, and then boom, it pops up right there. So that's quite nice, and it's was a lot easier than I thought. I just had it like a if statement. So if the current song or if the current audio has value, then it will present this page, and otherwise it will present this loading page. So really happy with that, and big progress. Now I think that was the last coding issue I had on my Jira page before I can move on to the beta test. So let's take a look at it quickly. So now when you press one of these stories, say we want to press raising chickens for example, we press it, we're taken to this page, and now this is the whole redesign. I think this looks a lot better than it did before. What annoys me is that it bounces a little bit at the bottom, but I decided to leave it orange because it didn't look good if it was white either. So yeah, that's the redesign of this page, and with that done we can go to the internet and we can open up our Jira page, and we can do something very, very satisfying in that we will head over to our project page, first beta build, and we will take a redesign about saga page, and we will put that as done. So with that done, we're at a very exciting crossroad in that we're actually done with the app. The app in itself, the redesign is done. We have fixed all of the stuff which we found as errors from the first alpha test. We've done all the feedback which we got from people and everything which I found later on. So now we're pretty much done. My life kind of feels complete and incomplete at the same time. I'm really happy with how it turned out, and I think in the next video we're gonna go over what the final product looks like. Kind of go over the whole product, signing up, logging out, logging in, changing your name, listening to a couple of stories, and just seeing what the app is like. And after that we're gonna get to the actual beta test of the app, where we for real this time let people test the app and get their feedback. So with that said, thank you so much for watching this video. If you like this series and you want to continue following and see how this develops, please don't forget to subscribe, and if you like the video, leave a like, it helps me out a lot. With that said, have a good one, see you in the next one.